Hi there! In today's video I'm going to create a 2D racing game in C with Raylib. So let's get started. Now I haven't actually created such a game before, especially not in C, but I think I can get it done. So let's just start by a simple hello world in C, just to remind how this works, because I haven't worked with C in a month or two. So we have to include stdio.h, and then we have to have a main function, and we have to return 0, and we have to print f hello world and a new line. And then if we run gcc o game.c, then this should compile it, and if we run game now, then we get hello world. Amazing. But we don't want to create a terminal program. We want to have a GUI. So we will in fact include raylib.h. And we're not going to print anything. We are going to make a while loop. And if I remember correctly, here we have to do something like window should close. In fact, while not window should close, then we are going to do something. And what we're going to do is we are going to clear the background with a color. Let's use a color like green. And before this, we actually have to initialize the window. So we have to do init window. And here we pass in the width and the height and the title. So let's put here like 1800. And title is Racer. And do we have to do something else? I'm not quite sure. We have to call begin drawing somewhere. I guess it is inside this loop. So we say begin drawing. And after we have drawn everything, we have to say end drawing. And I'm not quite sure if we had to do anything else. Let's try and compile this thing. So let's run this again. And of course, we have to include the Raylib library. Otherwise, we will get this error. So let's actually create like a build.sh file here. And let's say here that we want to run gcco game.c, and we have to do l raylib. And let's then try to run this. Let's chmod plus x build.sh, and then we can run build.sh, and now we actually built it. So hopefully, if we now run game, then we are going to have a green window. That's great. Now I'll make it a little bit bigger. So let's go here, and I will do like 1300, and let's do 1000. And let's build it and let's run it. And that looks pretty good. Now the color is kind of terrible, so let's pick some other color. I think we can do something like color, and how did this work? I don't remember. Do we pass it like this? So if we do 255 00, damn, I forgot how to do this. Do I have to like cast it this way? Maybe that's the way. So this is now going to be red, is it? Let's build it and let's run it. Okay, that's red. So if I want it to be like brown, then maybe I have to have like a little bit of red and a little bit of green and a little bit of blue. What is that color? Let's run it. That is in fact brown, but it is too dark. So let's put like 180 and 60 and 40. What is this color? Okay, maybe I can't just guess a random color. I am going to use a color picker for this. Alright, here we can pick some sort of brownish. What is brown? This is kind of the brown that I want. So let's copy the RGB and let's put it in here. Okay, I was pretty close. I mean, let's build it and run it. And here we have a very nice brown beige kind of a color. So then we have to put a car on the screen so that we can drive the car. But I actually think we have to call down here close window. which might not really make any difference, but let's put it there anyway, because that's how you're supposed to do it. And let's make this background color like a constant. So we can say background color, and we can define it up here. Define background color, and it is going to be a color. So then, after we clear the background, we need to draw the car. And let's create the car just as a rectangle right now. So we can say draw rectangle. And this gets the position, and then the width and the height and the color. Okay, I want it to be in the middle. So let's define here int width as 1300. And int height is 1000. And we can use them here, width and height. And then we can center the thing by saying width divided by 2 and height divided by 2. And the width can be something like 50 pixels and the height can be 100 pixels. And the color, let's call it car color. And let's define it here. Define car color. Can I just say black like this? So now we should draw a black car in the middle. Although I guess we should minus 25 from this and minus 50 from this to make it actually in the middle. So let's build it and let's see if there was any errors. No errors, so let's run it. Now we have a car, which is not quite as I wanted it. So I am going to make it 70 pixels, and this should be 35 then. So let's build it and run it, and that's too much. Just 60 and 30. And build it and run it, and that is the perfect proportions of a car. So now we have to make it move. How do we make the car move? Well, when we press arrow up, it should go forward. So what we can do is we can say this. Let's initialize up here like an integer that is the car x and car y. And we can set them like this to begin with. So we have the width and height. And then here we can just say car x. And here we can say car y. And we might as well define car width as 60 and car height as 100. So then we can use those here as well. Car width divided by 2 and car height divided by 2. And here as well, car width and car height. So then, since we're inside this loop, we can change the car x and car y. So let's do this. If is key pressed, or I should probably use is key down. If the key is down, and we have to pass in the key, so we can use arrow up. I wonder what is the key up. I'm pretty sure it should be arrow. Mouse cursor arrow. That is not it. Key. It must be here. How many keys are there? Up. It's just key up. Okay, that makes sense. So if we are pressing arrow up, we need to make the car go faster. So let's say that the speed plus equals 1 or something like this. And we can define, I guess we could call it car speed. And it starts with 0, car speed. And then with every iteration, we are going to move the car forward by the speed. So in this case, I will just do car y minus equals car speed. And minus equals so that it will go up. Of course, we're not going to just go up, so this is not going to ultimately work. But let's just start with the simplest thing. And I guess here we also should use the delta time. So can we say int dt is get frame time, because we want this to go the same speed no matter what the FPS is. So let's put 100 times dt. So dt is the time difference in seconds from the previous frame. So if we do this, then we will have the same speed increase no matter what the FPS is. But we also want the car to slow down after we release the key. So else, if we are not pressing down the key up, then the car speed will minus equal something. Let's say 30 times dt. And let's tweak these numbers afterwards. But now, one more thing we have to do is we have to say if the car speed is less than 0, it should be 0. So it doesn't start reversing if we don't press down. So if car speed is less than 0, then car speed is 0. And I guess we could have like a maximum speed as well. So if it is greater than max speed, let's call it car max speed. Maybe it could be even constant, but let's say car max speed, then the speed is car max speed. Let's say int car max speed, and I don't know, let's put 1,000. We'll have to tweak these numbers, but let's build it and let's run it. So now it's still there, but if I press up, nothing happens. But if I hold it down, still nothing happens. So why? Let's see. I am not actually moving. I am moving the car. Why? Is it because the speed is too small and the speed should be actually a float? And the get frame time should be a float as well, because it's in seconds and there are no complete seconds, so this is gonna be just a 0. So car speed should be a float, and I guess this should be a float as well. But I believe these are still integers, or maybe no, they're gonna be turned into integers, I guess, here. But do we have to have them as floats so that the information is still there when we speed up the car just a little bit? Let's see what happens. If I now build it and I run it, and then I press up, then there it goes. It's way too fast. So let's put here just 5 and build it and run it, and then I press it, it moves up and it slows down. But that's way too fast again. So should it be just 1? Or is this because we are using integers? Yeah, it's really fast. How can I make it? I guess I can put just 0.5 then. Can I? Build and run. Yeah, but it is slowing down too fast. So this actually should be a smaller number. What if I put here 0.2 and I build and I run? Okay, so I guess this can be around 1. I'm just testing out what works the best. So it's still super fast. Why is it so fast? Does it affect at all if I make these floats and then build and run? Yes, it does affect. So of course. So now it's very smooth. It's starting out very slowly. So I guess this can be now 2 or something. And let's build it and run it. And now if I press it, okay. Now it's a lot smoother, but it's too fast. So let's put this as 1 and this as 0.5. And then if I press up, that looks pretty nice. Let's actually make it also go in reverse. So we can add here an else if, and we can say is key down, key down. If we're pressing down, then we just subtract from this. But there will be an issue now, because we are checking here if the speed is less than 0, then we're gonna stop. But the speed is going to be less than 0 if we're going in reverse. So I guess what will happen now is if I reverse and then I release the down key, then it will stop right away. Let's see. If I go up, it stops slowly. If I go down, it stops right away. So, okay. How do we fix that? First of all, I want it to stop faster. So let's just put 1 in here. And then let's run it. And it's still a bit too slow to stop. So let's put 2 in here. And build and run. And now, okay, now it stops very fast. But if I go down, then it stops right away. So what is the solution for that? Well, there's probably some clever math you can do, but I'm not that clever at math. So I will just do this. I will say that we have an int car direction, which is, let's say, 0 or 1. 0 is up and 1 is down. Or I guess we could have like -1 as up and 1 as down. So then we can say when we press up, then the direction is going to be -1, car direction. And when we press down, then car direction will be 1. And then we can check here that if the direction is -1, so we're going up, and then the car speed is less than 0, then we're going to make it 0. And this car direction. And else, if the car direction is 1 and the car speed is greater than 0, then the car speed is 0. Does that make any sense? And do we have to change the car speed differently here as well? Because when we are going backwards, it's going to be a positive number, but when we're going forwards, it's going to be a negative number. Although in the end, we might not have any of this. So do we have to say times direction here? Car direction. Let's see what all of that stuff does. So build it and run it. Now we're going up automatically. So the car direction is -1. So it's going up at first. So this has to be plus equal. So let's build it and run it. Okay, now we are stationary. If I press up, we go up and then we stop. And it's kind of smooth. And if we go down and then we stop, then it stops. So actually it's working as it should. So all of the math worked out. But now we have to make it move in a circle. We want to be able to turn it. So when we press arrow left or right, we should rotate the car. And then instead of going up and down, we should go to the direction that we are pointing at. How do we do that? I have no idea. Let's see. When we draw the rectangle, how do we turn it? Is there like something where we can change kind of the context so that before we draw the rectangle we say like rotate something? Not sure. Or is there another like draw rectangle V? This takes a vector, right? Position, size. But it still doesn't help. There's no rotation. So let's ask our good friend ChatGPT. How do I rotate a rectangle in Raylib in C? Draw rectangle pro. We have to become pros. So draw rectangle pro. And this one will take the rectangle and the origin. So origin, I guess, is just the, yes, it's the origin from which we are rotating. So we have to pass in a rectangle here. So let's call it car rec. And rectangle car rec is, what do we have in a rectangle? We have x, y, width, and height. So the x is going to be car x, and the y is going to be car y, and width, do I use commas or semicolons here? I'm not sure. Width is going to be car width, and height is going to be car height. And we need to pass in the car origin, and this was our vector 2, I believe. Let's go to the definition of this. Yes. So vector 2 is just like x and y. So vector 2, car origin, and this is going to be x. And I guess this is like relative to the rectangle. So the x is going to be car width divided by 2, and y is going to be car height divided by 2. And we also need the rotation, which is a float. And what is the unit of that? Is it from 0 to 1 or 0 to 360 or what? Let's just put 0.5 and see what happens. And then we're going to have the car color. So now This should look exactly the same, although the rotation is going to be 0.5, whatever that means. Let's build it and run it. Maybe it is then 0.5 degrees because it is not really rotated at all. So if I put 45 here and I build and I run, then it is rotated 45 degrees. Okay, but we still go up and down like this. So how do we fix that? Let's add here a car rotation and let's initialize it. Int car, sorry, this is float car rotation is going to be 0 to begin with. And if key is key down, key left, then the car rotation will minus equal again something. Let's put like 5 times dt, and else if the key is down, key right, then we're gonna plus equal the car rotation. So now we should be able to rotate the car. Let's try if that works. Build and let's run it. So if we press left, yeah, now it's very slowly rotating. So I have to make it rotate faster. Let's do that. So I guess we could do like rotation speed. And let's define that here. Define rotation speed 20. Build and run. Now we can turn. It's still very fast. I mean very slow. So let's put 50 and build and run. Okay, that's pretty nice. And actually, we probably should have set like a target FPS. So let's do that. Set target FPS 60. And let's build it and run it again. Okay, I still want it to be faster. So I am going to put like 80. Build and run. Okay, now it's turning pretty fast. But we still move up and down like this, and because I changed the FPS, then it is now very slow. So I have to change something. So this should be like a constant, or I guess it might be a variable. We have different kind of cars that go different speeds. So let's call this like car speed up. I'm not sure what is the right name for this. Car slow down. And then we can set them here. Float car speed up is 5 and float car slow down is 5. And build and run, and now it moves like this, which is not quite what I want. So let's put 8 and 10. Build and run. Still it's super slow. It slows down very slowly. Let's put 30 here. And then, whoa, why does it go down faster? What, what is going on? I think I changed the wrong places now. Okay, so these both are the speed up, but this is the car slow down. Okay, that makes sense. Let's see now what happens. Build and run. Yeah, now it slows down really fast. So let's call it 10 and 10. Although previously slowdown was double. Let's do 20 and 10. Okay, that is fine for now. But now, if we turn it and we still go up and down. So we should go in the direction that we are pointing at. How on earth do we do that? Well, again, there might be some sort of helper in Raylib that we can use to move in a specific direction. But at least we can use trigonometry to do it. So basically, if we have the car here at an angle like this, then we're going to have an angle here, kind of like this. This is the angle right here. And we can imagine that we have a triangle here that looks like this. And since we know the speed of the car, so how much we should move forward, and the speed is basically how many pixels we're going to move up. And that is the speed. So the hypotenuse of the triangle is the speed. And since we know the angle and the length of the hypotenuse, then we can calculate these two over here. So the base and the height of the triangle, whatever the correct terms are. And these are basically the y and the x, how much we have to move in those directions. So how do we do that? Let's actually see. We can still use the same exact calculation because we are just calculating the speed of the car. But then when we actually set the car y, we don't just set it to the car speed, but we have to set the car x to something and the car y to something. So what is it going to be? We have the rotation here. And I believe that the rotation is from 0 to 360. Is it? Let's actually see. Let's print the car rotation. Sorry, we have to do print f d car rotation. And let's put it in here. When we press right, then we're gonna print that. And I guess we have to do a new line. And let's just say rotation is that. And build it. Oops, what's happening here? It's a double. So we have to do F and build it and run it. So now we should get in the terminal the angle. So we are going to go to 180 around here, and then we are going to go to 365. Wait a minute. Okay, so do we have to care about that? Because now we are kind of rotating. It's going up all the time. Do we need to reset it to 0 when it goes to 360? Maybe. It might not matter for the math, but I don't like the idea that it's just going up and up and up and up. So I guess we can just say if car rotation, but how do I do it? If it's 360, then car rotation equals 0. I mean, yeah, if it's greater than, yeah, it's gonna work. So if it's greater than or equal to 360, then it's actually 0. Let's see if that still works. Build and run. And if I press here, then we are at 86, and here should be 180. And then we go up there, it's gonna go to 360, and it's actually gonna go back to 0. Okay, that's nice. So how do we calculate the base and the height of the triangle? Let's ask ChatGPT. How do I calculate the base and height of a triangle when I know the hypotenuse, how do you write that word, and the angle in degrees? I have to use sine and cosine, but I don't know how to use them. Okay, C as the hypotenuse and whatever that thing is, theta, as the angle. The base B of the triangle can be found using the cosine function. C times cosine of theta. Is that theta? What the hell is that? Theta. It is theta. Okay. And the height is C times sine of theta. Okay, and this is the thing here. Make sure to convert the angle from degrees to radians. So radians is pi times degrees divided by 80. Okay, let's do that. We need to get the float radians is going to be, is there a pi in Raylib? There is pi. There might be a function to convert degrees to radians. Radian. No, I can't see such a thing. So let's say pi times car rotation divided by 180. What is like this? Yes. So those are the radians. So then the x is going to be the c, which is the speed, times the cosine of the angle. So float x move, something like this, is going to be the car speed times, I think it's something like f sin f, or just sin f. How do you actually do it? How do you do, sorry, this is cosine. Is there cosine? Let's ask ChatGPT. How do you calculate sine and cosine in C programming language? Oh, it's just sine and cosine. Really? Okay, thanks. So the cosine of the radians and float y move is the car speed times the sine of the radians. But I feel like since these are floats, we have to do something. Is there cos f? Why don't I get it? Do I have to like include math? Include math.h. Do I then get these? But math should be already in. Okay. It should be in Raylib. Or not? Maybe I have to add here lmath as well now. Or it's just lm. Okay. So is there now a cos f? There is. How about f cos f? No, it's just cos f. And sin f. Sin hf, what is that? Okay, that should work now. Now we know how much we have to move in the x direction and the y direction. And if it's negative, if the speed is negative, it's going to go back, so it's going to go in the other direction. So can I then just say minus equals car speed? Not car speed, but now car x is going to be minus equal x move, and car y plus equals or minus equals y move. Let's see if that will work. Build, it built, and if I run it, then we are actually moving there, but it's not correct. Something is not correct. I'm not sure what. Does this need to be plus equal? Build and run, and now if I go there, no. It's weird. Why did it do like that? Yeah, it goes that way now. And if I turn it this way, then it goes there. Okay, so how do I fix that? Because the angle in that case is, yeah. Okay, so I have to just draw the car in a different way. So I guess I should flip these around then when I create a rectangle. And if I want it to go up by default, then I should set the rotation to minus 90 degrees. Is that correct? Build and run. Then now it goes up and it goes down. And if I turn it there, it turns a bit weirdly. The origin is, okay, the origin has to be now the other way as well. So car height and car width. Build and run, and now if I go up, it goes up. If I go down, it goes down. If I turn this way, it goes there. And it goes back this way. If I turn there, it goes there, and it goes back this way. So now I can actually drive around, but it doesn't turn quite fast enough, so it disappears. So let's make it turn faster. So let's put like 150 here, and build and run. So now we can turn really fast, and the car is speeding up a lot. That's another issue. So we have to change the max speed. Let's put just 100 and build and run. So now how fast are we going to go? We're still going to go too fast. Let's put just 20 as the max speed. And now, what is the max speed? This is the max speed now. It's still super fast, like it's not really playable this way, I guess. So let's put 10 and build and run. So now it only goes this fast. So now I can actually move this thing and it works. And it stops nicely. So what are we going to do next? Well, that is an issue actually. Because we can rotate the car like this. But cars don't really rotate that way. So how do we fix that? Should we do it so that it only rotates when it's moving? So we have to have the key up or key down pressed in order to rotate. So basically we can just say if car speed is greater than 0, then we can do this. Although I guess maybe it would depend on the speed of the car. Or maybe not. I'm not really good at physics, but let's see. So now I cannot turn it. But if I go forward and turn, then it turns. But it turns too fast. But when I'm going the full speed, then the turn is kind of good. Maybe it's a little bit too fast. Should the rotation be proportional to the car speed? So if I do this instead. If I do rotation speed times dt times car speed. But this should be like an absolute number, I guess. So can we do abs or abs f? Maybe just abs. I'm not sure why I don't like get any info here. Let's try that. and do the same thing here. But of course now it's going to turn way too fast because we have the car speed here. So let's just see what happens. Okay, we don't have apps F. So let's just do apps. And then we are going to build it. Okay, we don't have apps. Include stdlib. Okay, why is it not in math? Include stdlib. And then, sorry, I need to build it and then run it. So now it turns very fast. But, okay. Let's put a rotation speed of 5 now. Okay, it's turning very slowly. Let's put 50. And now it turns, yes, very fast. But yeah, it is turning now slower when it's going slower. So how about 30? Yeah, now it looks pretty nice, but it goes a bit too fast in my opinion. So just 20. And now it feels kind of nice. So if I start, it goes like this, and then it starts to rotate faster when it goes faster. I think that's pretty cool. Now, what is next? I would like it to kind of drift a little bit. That would be pretty cool. Because now when I stop pressing any keys, it does kind of slow down slowly, but it only goes forward. But I would like it to go in the direction that it's going. Like, I would like it to like drift to the side. If I'm like in a corner, if I'm rotating and then I stop, it should go to that direction. How do I make it do that? Alright, so I spent about an hour trying to make the thing drift, but I was unable to do it. I think I have to study some physics before I can do it. So instead of making the car drift, let's add some graphics to this game, which I was supposed to do using ChatGPT like I have done in previous games, but I was unable to do that also because ChatGPT didn't really know how to create, or I didn't know how to prompt ChatGPT to correctly create those kind of graphics. So we are going with plan B, which is we are going to use pre-made graphics. So I found this free racing game kit from craftpix.net, not a sponsor. So we are going to use this kit to get some graphics for the game. And I have now downloaded this package here. So I'm guessing we're going to use the PNG files, and we have a bunch of files here. We're probably not going to use all of these, but at least I want to have like the car and then some background in this video, and then in future videos we can add some more graphics. But let's see, we have car 1 here, and we have this kind of car, which looks pretty nice. And what is the difference between these? Okay, it's like a broken car. So I guess we can make the car more broken over time. And we have some background tiles. So we have grass and soil and water. So let's start by just adding a soil background and then making the car look like this. So how do we do that? Well, we need to, instead of drawing a rectangle, we have to draw a texture, I believe. So is there like Draw Texture Pro? There is, in fact. So this one will take the texture 2D and then the rectangle and the dest. Sorry, we have a source and destination. What does that mean? And then we have origin and rotation. What does it mean to have a source and a destination? Perhaps the source is from the original texture and then the destination is the position in the game. That makes sense. So we have to load the image into the texture. Let's just call this now car texture. And then we need the source. So this is car texture rect, let's call it. And then we're going to have the car rec. Actually, I just called it rec. So let's call it rec. And we need the origin, which is car origin, and we need the car rotation, and then we have the car color. So let's use these things, and we can remove that. So now we have to get the texture from somewhere, and then the rectangle of the texture. So I guess that we should do this outside of the loop, so we can load the textures here. So texture 2D, car texture, is going to be what? I think we have to like do load image, and does this, in fact, it returns an image. No, we have to say load texture, and this one takes a file name. Okay, so what is the file name of the car? It is this one. I can copy the relative path and I can put it here. Now we might want to move it into a better folder, but for now let's just do that. So here we load the texture from the file, and then down here we draw that texture, and we need the texture rec. So I guess the texture rec can be used to like crop the image. But can we actually see in VS Code what is the size of this thing? Yes, 5651146. So let's create that up here, and this will be texture rec. Now, is there actually in texture 2D, is there the width and height? It's just a texture. So what is in texture? Width and height. So can we, in fact, just load the texture, and then we can say that the texture rec is going to be, I guess, x0, y0, and width is going to be car texture dot width, and the height is going to be car texture dot height. I'm literally just guessing here. I don't know if this is the case. But basically, now we are loading the texture, and we are creating the rectangle, and then we are drawing it, but this should be called car texture rec. And let's see if that works. If we now build it, it built, and if we run it, then we have something here. But this is not our car. What is this? That is fascinating. What? Okay, I kind of get it. So, because the car is rotated differently, then it's kind of squashed it like this. But why is it black? That's weird. Do we need to rotate the image, or can we just rotate the texture? Is there something like rotate texture? No, there's just rotate image. Is there something like load texture from image? Yes. So this takes an image. Let's do this. Car image. And this is in fact the texture. But before this, we are going to say that the image, car image, is going to be load image. And then we can rotate the image. So can we just rotate it in place? Let's see, what does that do? Rotate image. Image rotate. And I want to rotate it clockwise. And it just takes the image, so it just modifies the original. So I say car image. And what is the issue here? This should be a pointer to an image. So I have to make it a reference. Okay, so now if I build it and I run it, then now we have an outline of a car. But, yeah, we set the color, right? We set the color to car color. So, should we set this to like white? How does this work? Aha! We have to set it to white, and then we can see the actual car. That's pretty cool. Now I'll make it a little bit bigger, which I should be able to just do here. So I need to change the car width and car height. So if I do 150 and 80, something like this, then now we have a bigger car. And that's pretty nice. So now we can drive around with the car. Okay, let's add some background graphics. So let's add the soil background in there. Now, the soil background is just one piece like this, which is pretty big, but it's just 512 by 512. So we have to repeat this. How do we repeat in Raylib? I would assume that there's some way of just setting the texture to a rectangle or something. And we really should unload the image and unload the texture in the end. So let's do that down here. Let's say unload image and this car image and unload texture, car texture. And let's load the soil tile the same way. So let's copy these lines. And this is going to be the soil image. And it is going to have this path. Let's put it there. And the soil texture is going to be that. And let's unload those things as well. So this will be soil. And how do we set it to the background? We have clear background, but it just takes a color. So I'm guessing there is no like just a background image clear background. Aha. So does this actually clear the background with an image, or will it clear the background of an image? Is this like for transparent PNG or something? Let's just do this. What if we draw rectangle, is there draw texture rec? This is probably what we want. So we take the texture and the rectangle and the position. Okay, but this still doesn't repeat. What I want to know is, do I have to really in the code just repeat it, draw it multiple times? Let's ask ChatGPT. How do I add a repeating background in Raylib in C? Do I need to draw the background tile multiple times manually in the code, or is there another way? You generally have to manage the repetition manually. Okay, so I guess we need to do that. So let's do it. Let's just draw a bunch of these tiles in the background. So we should have some sort of, I don't know, world size. Let's actually move this soil image up here. So these are the background stuff. This is all the car stuff. And let's add like int world width. And let's do like, I don't know, 5,000 pixels. And int world height is 5,000 pixels. So this is basically the window width. So I might want to change it to window width, but let's just leave it as width for now. And this is the whole world, because I want to be able to pan around the world as we move with the car. So then, in here, we have to draw the texture to cover the whole world. So we can say int tile count is going to be world width divided by tile, what is it called, soil texture dot width. Now I guess these are like the columns, how many columns, and then we have tile count rows, and this is going to be world height divided by soil texture dot height. And then we just do a for loop. For I equals 0, I less than tile count col I plus plus, and here we are going to do for int j equals 0, j less than tile count row j plus plus. We are going to draw a tile. So we are going to draw texture. And now we can just use the regular one, I guess, or maybe X. There's so many. There's draw texture X, draw texture, and draw texture pro. But I think this is fine now. So we use the soil texture, and the position is going to be I times soil texture dot width, and the Y position is J times soil texture height. So I guess this could be like X and Y. So let's actually call these X, and this is X, and this is going to be Y. And we need the tint, so I guess this is white again. So that should basically do it. And maybe we have to like seal this thing so that we are going to cover the whole thing. Okay, let's see if that works. If we build it and we run it, then we have a background. That's great. and it repeats. But now we have to make it so that we can like move the camera around, because now we can just go off screen. So let's do that. We can do this by doing something like begin mode 2D, and we have to give it the camera. So let's give it the camera, and we have to say that the camera 2D camera equals something. What do we have in the camera? Let's check the definition. We have a vector 2 offset, and we have a target, and we have a rotation and zoom. So I don't quite remember what this means. Rotation and zoom origin is the target. Okay, so we have, let's open this to the right. So let's just create it here. So offset is going to be a vector 2, which is going to be 0, 0 in the beginning. And target is also a vector 2, which I guess I can just put 0, 0 maybe. And rotation is going to be 0, and zoom is going to be 1. And now we should have a camera. So let's just see what happens if we now build it and we run it. Nothing happens. But what if we change the offset to like 200 by 200? Maybe we have to actually do minus 200. Build and run. Yeah, because now it looks like this. Okay. So basically, I think we can define this camera up here. And if we set this to 0 and 0, then can we just change here? If we say that camera.offset equals vector 2, or can we just say camera offset x equals minus 200, let's say, and camera offset y equals minus 200. So now we can change the camera position. Yeah, now we have moved the camera. But we have to do this depending on where the car is. So how is that done? Basically, we have to check somewhere. Let's check it here, for example. We have to say that if the car X is less than, let's say, 200, but we have to offset this by the camera position. So if car X plus camera offset X is less than 200, then what we're going to do is we're going to set the camera offset X to what? I guess to car X plus camera offset X. Something like this. Let's see what happens. If we now build it and we run it, and we move over here, something happened. But that was not quite correct. Whoa, where are we going? Okay, how does this work? Let's start by doing this. Camera offset X. Camera offset X is going to be car X, and camera offset Y is going to be car Y. And if we build it and run it, then now we are in fact following. Wait a minute. How does that work? Why does it do like this? So if I turn around and I go over here, we are going exactly in the opposite direction with the camera. So this should be negative like this. Now we are there. Okay, now we are following the car, but we are following it from that weird place. So if we add to this the width divided by 2, and we add to this the height divided by 2, then we are going to be in the middle. But again, we're going in the wrong direction. So we have to subtract from this, and then we don't see anything. Wait a minute. Let's try this again. Oh no, it works now. It's just weird when we're up there. Okay, fine. It looks weird here because we are going too far. So we have to limit it. So if camera offset X is less than 0, then camera offset X is 0. And same thing with Y. And we also have to check that if the offset x is greater than window width or just width, then the offset x is the width. Sorry, it's the world width. World width. Maybe we have to subtract from this the actual width. Let's see. World width. And the same thing with the y. So if the y is greater than the world height, then what? Was this exactly the wrong way? So now we can't go there and we can't go there. If it is greater than 0, then it's 0. And if it's less than negative world width, then it is negative world width. Okay, maybe that makes sense. This way and that, sorry, yeah, this way. Does this make any sense? Now it's there, okay? And if we move over here, we are following it. So that's basically what we are doing. But at first, what I was trying to do is to make it not follow all the time. So only when I go to the edge, it should follow. Because now it's following all the time, whatever I move. Even if I move just 1 pixel, it moves along with this. But it's still pretty cool. So how do we now make it so that we can move around a little bit without moving the camera? How does that work? Alright, I have now gotten the camera following the car working. It took way too long. I'm not sure why it was so difficult, but my brain just isn't working for this right now. Anyway, here's the formula. And basically I came up with this by just guessing and trying out different things. So now, if I run this game, then now if I go to the right, it will follow it. And if I go down, it will follow it. If I go left and if I go up, it will follow it. But only after I go 200 pixels from the side. But I want to change it now a little bit. So I am going to take all these 200s and I am going to call this like camera follow thresh. Let's call it this. And I'm going to define camera follow thresh. Now I'll make it like 400. And let's build it and run it. So now it should start following a little bit earlier. But I think that is now pretty nice. But before we finish this video, I saw that we have a bug here. Because we can go down here and it goes over. So how do we fix this issue? So we have here, if offset y is less than negative world height. But we might want to add to this the height. Let's see if that is the case here. And the same thing here, but this is going to be the width. Let's see if that's the issue. So if I now go all the way to the end for 5,000 pixels, then it just stop doing that. But it doesn't quite do it. It stops following, but it doesn't do it early enough. I think I have to plus also the threshold, the camera follow thresh. So let's do this and that and that. So now it should work. So all the way we go to the end of the screen and then it should stop there. Yes, and if we go down all the way, then the same thing should happen. It should stop there. Okay, that's good. And of course, if we go to the left, we have the same thing. So it will stop following when we get to the end, and it will also do the same thing up here. So now, this is going to be the end of today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to see a part 2, let me know in the comments, and let me know what I should do in part 2. Perhaps we should add some roads to this, or some autonomous other cars that we have to either shoot or avoid crashing to them or try to crash to them or something like this. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. And of course, give this video a like and subscribe to my channel if you want to see these kind of videos in the future. So thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.